What's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel. My name is Markel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to find balance. So let's get into it. So in my last video we talked about finding happiness, and I mentioned that in life you're not always going to be happy, right? You're not always going to be able to show off on Instagram. You're not always going to be able to brag about the things that are happening in your life to your friends. And it's important to note that there are times in your life where, things don't go the way that you want them to go. And it's those days, it's those times that allow you to appreciate the good times. Because without the bad, you're not able to experience the good, right? So in life, there are always opposites, like night and day, or good and bad, or light versus dark. It's because of the negative moments that we're able to appreciate the positive moments. And so that's what I mean when we're talking about finding balance. Because think about this, for example, if you never knew sad times, if you never knew hard times, you wouldn't be able to have joy or triumph in the good times, because things would always be going your way, and honestly that would get kind of boring, right? You never go to the movies to watch a movie in which the character or the main character, the protagonist, never has any problems to overcome, never has any obstacles to overcome, because that would be a pretty boring movie. I can think back to some of the most exciting movies that I've ever seen, or the best movies that I've ever seen, is when the main character has some sort of huge obstacle to overcome, or some sort of huge challenge to face, or the antagonist has challenged the main character in some way and he had to overcome, or she had to overcome. And we're the happiest in our lives when we figure out the answer to a problem, or the solution to some problem that's been facing us for whatever period of time. And so in life, it's important to note that there will always be obstacles. There will always be obstacles that you have to overcome. And it's through overcoming those obstacles that we find the most joy in life. If you had a life where things always worked out for you, or things always worked out the way that you wanted them to work out, you'd live a pretty boring life. And I know it sounds kind of weird, like why would you want a life with problems? Why would you want a life with obstacles? And I don't know why you would want those things, but I think we can all agree that in life there are challenges, there are obstacles. There's not been anyone in the history of humankind or mankind that has never had any obstacles to face in life, and I don't think that there ever will be. So let's talk about another example. Let's say maybe finding a balanced diet. So let's say maybe you're wanting to eat a little bit more healthy, shed a few pounds, gain a little bit more muscle. You're going to want to follow a balanced diet. And a balanced diet is something that consists of all the proper things that you need. Fruits, vegetables, meats, if you eat meat, carbs, starches. You'll want to find the diet that has a good balance of all these things. And let's say even the most disciplined, bodybuilders or athletes, they're gonna have what's called cheat days, right? And those are days in which they stop thinking about, the things that they should be eating and eat something that brings them a little bit of joy, like McDonald's, or ice cream, or cake, cupcakes, pies, anything like that that just makes you happy. Because sometimes you also have to do things that are not even necessarily good for your body or your health, but something that just brings you joy. Obviously you don't want to overindulge in doing those things, so you want to just be mindful of monitoring, balancing the good with the bad. Let's say, someone who's super productive and wants to do all the time, achieve things, get things done, that could lead to someone burning out. So it's important to take days of rest. The same with working out. Let's say you lift a ton of weights. You wouldn't want to do that 7 days a week, because your body actually just needs time to recover and rebuild the muscles that you break down. And so it goes in line with just finding the right amount of balance, and it's different from person to person. Someone who's just starting to work out may not be able to work out as many days as someone who's been working out for, let's say, 10 years. Or someone who has run 10 marathons. The person who's just starting out to run might not be able to run 10 minutes without needing a break. So it's important to not only find balance, but finding balance with where you are, accepting where you are in life, and finding the right balance for that period in your life. Now, that will change as you become stronger, as you have more experience. Your balance, the balance that you find that you need is going to be different from when you first started. I know when I started working out, or when I started doing yoga, for example, I can do way more now than I could when I first started 10 years ago. And someone who's been practicing even longer than me can do even more advanced postures. So I think it's also great to push your limits, but also be aware of where you are and be realistic about where you are. And so I think that takes knowing yourself, being real with yourself, being honest with yourself. There are some days where I wake up and I jump out of bed because there are so many things that I want to do. But there are also days where I don't get out of bed until 1 o'clock. And, could I get out of bed sooner those days? Yeah, maybe. But it's also, like I said, it goes back to finding that balance and knowing what your body needs, knowing what your mind needs to make you overall more productive. Because I find that the days after, or let's say going to yoga for the first time after having not done yoga for 2 weeks, I find that I'll have a great session because I've given my body the rest that it needed, as opposed to pushing myself to do things that, may not be the smartest at the time. And there are just so many examples of ways that you can find balance in your life. Even going back to finding happiness in your life. Like I said in the previous video, you won't always be happy in life. Sometimes there are moments where you're sad or angry or frustrated. Just a few weeks ago, I was on the train on my way home from work, and I had my bag on the seat next to me, which it wasn't a crowded train. There weren't many people on the train at all. And this guy, he was very apparently angry. He walked onto the train and he just started yelling. He was like, "Move your bag, you don't own the train." And I thought to myself, you could literally have just sat in any other seat. But in that moment, I just chose to get up, remove myself from the situation. And in another moment, if I wasn't having such a peaceful day, I might have clapped back at him what's up? Why are you being so crazy? Why are you being so weird? When you could have just found any other seat on the train like I eventually did. But, in that moment, I had an intention set and I had a vision for how I wanted my ride to be. And I think that's also important, is just setting an intention for your life and for the moments that you have in life. If you set an intention to be peaceful or have peace in your day and your morning and in your moment, then the chances of you achieving peace in whatever in that said time frame is highly more likely. And so that's the idea with finding balance, is that you get to choose how you want to find balance in your life by knowing yourself, by knowing what you need, and being honest with yourself about what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot accomplish, because we weren't designed to be productive 24/7. We weren't designed to be productive all the time. We weren't designed to be happy all the time. Very few times in life are there extremes. Always and never, two very dangerous words, because we're not always going to be happy. We're not always going to be sad. We're not always going to be accomplished. We're not always going to be lazy. It's about knowing that there's a balance between everything in life. And so that's the big takeaway. Striving to find a balance in your life can help you to lead a more peaceful and productive life. And in the end, I think it'll just make you happier. So I hope this was helpful. Hit the like button if it was. Leave a comment, share this video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Dr. Markel. And until next time's video, I'll see you later.